And I do think that some of the material that we've looked at this year is probably more significant because what it's allowed us to do so far is to try to get a sense of the political relationships that the system has with Alabama's elected officials and the politics of the system and what does it mean. And it's not enough, I think, for us to write a story in October of last year that says, you know, in a given period of time, this many legislators had this sort of connection to the two-year colleges. I thought it was important that we go back and try to look at each one of those as much as we could to get an understanding of exactly what does that mean. Was that person there for a long time before they were elected? Was that person there hired the day after he was elected? Did that person do anything that you can quantify and that you can really get a sense of? Why were they there? We've had an interesting glimpse into that process. Interestingly, last year, a lot of the material we wrote, people were very complimentary and nice and sort of thanked us for our work and, you know, sort of patted us on the head, and, you know, good job. But when we began writing about, you know, the folks who were more politically connected, although it's hard to imagine someone more politically connected than Roy Johnson, but nevertheless, when we began writing more about, you know, the jobs Republican and Democratic legislators, by the way, had in the system, all of a sudden, you know, somehow we were part of a conspiracy to affect some electoral process. And there's been much said, I suspect will be more said about that. The politics of this and the sort of outcry from the partisans is interesting to me because no longer are we getting the pats on the head, as you can imagine, and no longer is it, I guess, comfortable for them. But anyway, I'm glad that I do work at a paper that can afford to see the bigger picture and understand that absolutely, you know, you're writing about people's lives, you're writing about people's livelihoods, you're writing about their families, and people have a right to be upset about that when they read it. But to go beyond that and, you know, to fabricate some sort of conspiracy or mission on our part, it's going to happen, and I guess we just have to sit back and let people say what they want to say. That the person that brought me the box, the other hundreds of people who called me, sent me mail, emailed me, came to the office, or tracked me down at a meeting or whatever, and gave me extraordinary information. If you look at the material, and there's, you know, it's like 175 stories. I mean, I haven't even read all the stories I've written. But if you looked at the material, you can see that there's a level of detail that they gave us that you could not have gotten except with someone in the system holding your hand and telling you, no, you didn't ask the right question. Go back and ask for this. Or the opportunity for me to call someone and ask them, you know, well, how does this work? Can you tell me? This is really what they told me. And so they used me as a conduit and helped me sort of piece it together. But people that work in the system who were able to provide such detailed information and then the ability to corroborate it, go find, this is how you get it, this is where it's kept, this is the person who has the file, is extraordinary. You know, I mentioned earlier the raid in 2004 by the FBI at the Fire College. And we have seen this year evidence that this investigation has broadened, and frankly, I knew it because, you know, I was talking to people who were going to the grand jury, and they were talking about things they were asked about, and any time at a call, I got a call a few weeks ago from Southern Union folks, and you know, they want to tell you, well, you know, so-and-so and all these other people, they went to the grand jury yesterday. There are no secrets in the two-year system, and luckily I've sort of been plugged into the gossip pipeline, and that has been going on, by the way, at a number of different institutions, you know, where employees are brought in to be questioned, and so the grand jury can learn more about what is going on or what has happened. And certainly there has been a clear, obvious interest, in case those of us weren't smart enough to get it, that the federal government is interested in Roy Johnson, and they are interested in other people that they have identified now in certain filings. It could be they finish their work, they finish the investigation, and they say, that's it, there's nothing there. But they've taken some pretty extraordinary steps that would lead you to believe that it is greater than, their interest is greater than that. So I don't know how the story ends, and I don't think you do yet either.